welcome to Fight Master on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network. As always, I'm your host, James Ernest, along with Mike Fightmaster, and we're going to discuss the UC Bearcats and their game against Marshall. So, Mark, what were your thoughts on the game?
Not much. It was bad. I mean, it was bad. It was just flat out bad. And you were there. You saw the first half in person, and that's as bad a first half as we've seen in a while. And they just couldn't recover. So everything went wrong. They tried to fight back and make it a game. What ended up being 38-24, but I mean, they were never in it. So I'm almost glad that I couldn't watch the second half. It was brutal. It was brutal, James, and you were there. I mean, you can tell more than I can. It was nasty.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the morale on the sidelines and all. It's just in the stadium. I mean, I was like, oh yeah, shoot, this should be a good one. Gonna have a good time, enjoy the game. And then, of course, like I was saying right before the show started, that whole halftime thing, because it was like, well, Marshall was up a bunch, but, maybe UC could come back, especially with the field position. I forget if it was a turnover or a kick return, but somehow they end up moving the ball down right at the end of the half. And it was like, okay, they're going to score. What they're going to do is they'll get this touchdown, and I'll stick around. No. Then, okay, well, they'll at least kick this field goal, and I'll stick around. No. So, yeah, it was rough. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, on the bright side, we don't have to watch this butt kicking in person because this weekend is not going to be fun. But we'll go into that later.
Yeah. So they got to do something. They got to figure something out. And I'm sure the coaches are working on it. Who's the man to play quarterback? I mean, Hayden Moore had probably his worst game. Got to figure out the running back situation if Boone is not healthy.
Yeah, because that was the problem. I mean, if he was healthy, he could have been doing some stuff for him, but, yeah, he couldn't get out there.
Yes, I mean.
Sidelines, because he was riding the bike a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as I passed back and forth, I'm like, what's Boone? He's up and about. Why don't we got him out there? So that was kind of, yeah. Because you're right. I mean, the score makes it look like, there was a game. No, there was no game.
No, I mean, it was 24-0 at halftime. No, and Marshall could do whatever they wanted to. And it's just, I guess their quarterback's I think a third-year starter as a junior.
Yeah,
so he's good. They got that tight end Juracek who, good Lord, I mean, he killed the Bearcats.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just either Vegas and a lot of people overestimated the Bearcats or they underestimated Marshall.
A little bit of both.
I think it was a little bit of both too, James. I agree with you. I think it was a little bit of both. And
yeah, because they're like, it's the guy from Pickle who coached at Ohio State. Oh, that'll instantaneously make the UC players better. I mean, it made them better, but because they prepared in the second half. And Marshall, you're right. I mean, their quarterback Litton is not a bad. He's solid.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. So now we're left sitting here with UC. We're 2-3, and you need 6 wins to be bowl eligible. And if we're hoping for a bowl game, I mean, man, it could be tough. Because UCF this weekend in South Florida, that's brutal.
Yep.
Maybe SMU could be a win. I think Tulane could be a win. I mean, it could come down to last game of the season, beat UConn to even be bowl eligible. And at that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. So can they get in at 6-6? So it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I'm not overly optimistic about that. I mean, obviously this season's just a building block and the whole process, but you're right. I mean, yeah, Marshall was just looking so dominant. They could do whatever they wanted to do for the most part. I mean, obviously the passing game is working a lot better than their running game, because that is the one thing UC has hung their hat on, is being able to stop the run so far. I mean, as a team, they're doing solid. I mean, it was 133 rushing yards. So I mean, they gave up some, but they didn't, nothing ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and last week when we talked about it, I thought that UC's DBs could be the difference in the game. And then Litton and Juracek and whoever else, they went out and made me look like a fool, because, I mean, they could – I get to the point in the first half where I thought, hell, Litton could stare down his receiver and point right where he was going to throw it, and they still would have completed it. So I don't know. It was just a very disappointing game, very disheartening, and we're going to see what Luke Fickell can do to get his boys back and ready to go this week. Maybe that would be a good way to gauge how good a coach he is, what he can do after that, dumpster fire of a game, and see if he can get him back and ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the big plays right now. I mean, like you said, Juracek, had the 3 touchdowns. He had a 31. Williams had a 34. Jones had a 27. So, I mean, they had several players make big plays. I don't get me wrong. Gray had that nice catch in the second half, but just wasn't enough.
Right. It's this is going to be a learning experience for him. I mean, and we've said it a couple times about this season. It's going to be a learning experience just to see what Fickell can do, But it's, man, this week is huge, and I hate to put I hate to make too much of the game, but this is a very big week to see how they're going to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, Young was looking pretty tough out there on defense. I got to give him credit. I mean, he had 13 tackles and all. Some of there, they got some things that are going in the right direction. It's just, not going to be there this year.
Right. So now we get to look forward to the 25th ranked Knights of Central Florida.
Oh yeah, look forward to.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one, James. I mean, not gonna lie, it's got the potential to be ugly. I mean, UCF is 7. What are they? I know they're nationally ranked now, like 25th maybe. They're 4-0. They're 1-0 in the conference. But man, you look at their stats. Their offense is the 7th rated offense in the country overall. I mean, they're 16th in the rush, 26th in the pass, but they get an overall ranking at number 7 in the country offensively. And I'm sorry, but UC had trouble stopping the run against Army. You're going to see Scott Frost, first-year coach, come out and run the ball down their throat, I think. And if they don't run it down their throat, they've got the passing attack that can go over the top. And then as good as their offense is, their defense, while it's ranked lower overall, it may be better than the offense.
Yeah, so, they're impressive.
I mean, what scares me is looking at their defensive stats. They are 7th overall against the rush. Okay, that is really not good because now we got to rely on Hayden Moore to have a big game throwing the ball, and he showed us against Marshall that he's still a young kid. He's still young, so it's going to be a tough one. Going to be a tough one this week.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like they're playing bums. I mean, they beat Maryland out of the Big Ten. They beat Memphis out of the American Conference. They beat Florida International, and then they had a game canceled against Georgia Tech. So I mean, they're not playing. They're not playing the Sisters of the Poor.
No, and look at those points they put up in those games. 61 against Florida International. Okay, it's Florida International. 38 against Maryland. Yeah. 40 and 40. I mean, they can put some points up, and that's scary because our defense is going to have to play out of their mind in order to keep us in this game with any chance. I mean, Vegas isn't real confident because they're giving the Cats 17 points.
Yeah, That's about right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's about right.
That's
I mean,
about more accurate than the last one where they were giving up 5.
yeah, no doubt, man. So we'll see what happens, but man, it's got the potential of being ugly. Actually, 2 weeks because after Central Florida, we got to get down to South Florida.
Yeah,
and South Florida is a good team, so we shall see.
definitely. Well, let's go with some good news.
Yep.
We're going to play Ohio State.
Yeah, that was just announced yesterday, wasn't it? That we're going to open up the new Fifth Third Arena with Ohio State. That's a big game, man. I mean, that's huge. I think that's awesome. They are, an in-state rival, and Ohio State doesn't like to do that often, football or basketball. So it's going to be massive. And I think Mick, I heard him, he's fired up about it, and there's reason to be. So.
Yeah, that is going to be nice. I mean, especially how good the team's projected so far. I mean, right now, I know it's not until the following year, but right now they're rated 13th in the country. So, yeah, I mean, there's some optimism there that the men's team should be able to beat Ohio State.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, you're talking about rankings. I saw one preseason ranking from John Rothstein, and he's got a UC up at 9.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, they're bringing pretty much everyone back.
Mm-hmm. And he said, and this is something we talked about last year, the Kane Broom kid is going to be one to watch because, the guy who had to sit out the whole year, I think he was from Stony Brook or wherever, he talked about he's going to be a hidden player to pay attention to. So it'll be it's going to be an interesting season and this year. And then looking ahead to the year after, it's going to be awesome. And getting to open with Ohio State, that's massive. I mean,
yeah, it'll be quite impressive.
Pack Paul Brown, so and there's enough basketball fans to fill that new stadium up and get it kicked off with a bang playing against Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, they and then, like you said, I mean, the future is just so bright for them because right now they've got, two seniors for next year. I mean, they're both big guys, Clark and Washington. But, I mean, only a potential of losing 2. That's not bad.
No, not at all. And, I mean, the big thing is, like you said, the 2 seniors are big guys. They're going to have good backcourt experience. Going forward, and they're going to get a lot of experience this season and then carry it into the next. So there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about the basketball program and just starting, being able to open that new arena and get all the attention. I mean, that could be a recruiting boost. It's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, and for lack of a better term, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's some bright things coming in the UC future. The basketball team's looking great. The men's football team, they'll be getting better, and the women's basketball team, well, they get to play. Well, anyway,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, shame for them. But other than that, yeah, it sounds like some good things are going on. Looking forward to covering, of course, the basketball season. And, of course, we're counting down to December 2nd, which is going to be a huge national game, I can imagine, because both UC and Xavier are just going to be amazing this year. Because Xavier's bringing everybody back as well, except for Summerlin. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Blue will be healthy. And I said, UC was 9th ranked by that Rothstein, by John Rothstein. I think in that same ranking he had Xavier 13. So, I mean, you're going to be looking at the potential of basically 2 top 10 teams going at each other at that time, provided they can keep winning and keep everybody healthy. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Exactly. And, of course, the nice edge goes to UC in that with Xavier's playing like Baylor the week before. Or no, not the week, the week of. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for Xavier. But definitely. Any final thoughts about the Bearcats?
No, I think it's going to be a tough couple weeks here football-wise. We're going to get a chance to see what this team is made of. If they can handle themselves well against these two teams, and then maybe get into the more winnable part of their AAC schedule. So let's have some patience with the new coach and all that fun stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say, me and Good Pastor were talking, and he was the one to come up with the name change. So for Fightmaster on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Spirits Radio Network, this has been James and Mark.